The courthouse felt different after the interruption. What had once been a quiet room waiting for a final decision had turned into a storm of whispers and questions. Reporters crowded the hallway, lawyers spoke urgently to one another, and officers tried to keep everyone calm while the judge reviewed the unexpected evidence. Amara sat in the same chair where she had been moments before the courtroom doors burst open. But everything had changed. Her heart was still beating fast. Someone had come forward. Someone who knew something. Someone who might finally reveal the truth that had been hidden for so many years. Across the room, her uncle sat rigidly beside his lawyer. The confidence he once wore like armor had faded. His jaw was tight and his eyes moved quickly around the room, as if searching for something or someone. Amara noticed it immediately. For the first time since the trial began, he looked afraid. Daniel leaned toward her. "This could be the turning point," he said quietly. Amara nodded, but her mind was spinning with questions. Who had sent the evidence? Why now? And what exactly did it contain? The courtroom remained closed for nearly an hour while the judge examined the new material. Outside, tension filled every corner of the building. Finally, the doors opened again. A court officer stepped into the hallway. "The court will resume." Everyone quickly returned to their seats. Inside, the room felt even more serious than before. The judge entered again and sat behind the bench, holding the same folder that had arrived earlier. He looked around the courtroom slowly before speaking. "This court has reviewed the newly submitted evidence," he said. His voice carried clearly through the silent room. "This witness states that they observed behavior consistent with the accusations made by the victim. The statement also includes details that were never previously made public." Across the room, Amara saw her uncle's hands tighten on the table. His lawyer whispered urgently to him. The judge placed the folder down. After reviewing all available evidence, testimonies, and the newly submitted statement, this court is now prepared to deliver its final decision. The moment had finally arrived. Amara's breathing slowed as she focused on the judge's words. Every second stretched longer than the last. The judge lifted the final document. "In the matter before this court," he paused. The entire room held its breath. "The defendant is found guilty." Gasps filled the courtroom. Reporters immediately lifted their cameras. Amara felt something inside her chest release all at once, like a knot that had been tied for years suddenly coming undone. Tears filled her eyes before she could stop them. Not tears of sadness, but something deeper. Relief, justice, freedom. Across the room, officers moved quickly toward her uncle, placing handcuffs around his wrists as he protested loudly. But his voice no longer carried power. It sounded small now, defeated. Amara watched as he was escorted out of the courtroom, the doors closing behind him. For the first time in years, the shadow he had cast over her life was gone. Daniel placed a gentle hand on her shoulder. "You did it," he said softly. Amara shook her head slightly. "No," she whispered. "The truth did." Minutes later, Amara stepped outside the courthouse. The afternoon sun warmed her face, and the fresh air felt different somehow, lighter. Reporters called her name, asking questions, but she barely heard them. She needed a moment to breathe, a moment to understand that the long battle was finally over. As she walked slowly down the courthouse steps, someone stepped forward from the crowd. A stranger, a woman in her early 40s, dressed simply, holding a small envelope in her hand. "Amara," the woman said gently. Amara stopped. "Yes." The woman held out the envelope. "This belongs to you." Amara hesitated before taking it. "What is it?" The woman smiled faintly. "It's from the person who sent the evidence." Amara's eyes whitened. "Who are they?" The woman looked toward the courthouse for a moment before answering. Someone who couldn't stay silent anymore. Then she turned and disappeared into the crowd. Amara stood still, staring at the envelope in her hands. Her heart beat slowly as she opened it. Inside was a folded letter. The handwriting looked careful, almost nervous. She unfolded the page and began to read. And as her eyes moved across the words, a new wave of shock passed through her. Because the person who had finally spoken up was someone she had never expected. Someone who had been much closer to the truth all along. Amara lowered the letter slowly, staring out at the city in front of her. The case might be over, but the story was far from finished.